Hey there, before we jump into this episode, just wanted to let you know about the challenge we have taking place 1 week from today. It is going to be starting September 9th with thousands of dollars worth of prizes, exclusive never seen Colossus Fitness shirts for the top 10 people within our challenge, and just so many amazing goodies, motivation, guaranteed results. And if you can't tell, I'm so excited for this to be taking place because it's going to be our 60-day challenge where you're just going to accelerate, you're going to feel your best, you're going to build confidence, clarity, and just get incredible guaranteed results alongside us, our amazing other coaches, and an incredible community as well at an awesome rate. So all you have to do to apply is send us a message with the keyword challenge to Instagram, which is Colossusfit, Colossusfit. And I promise you will not want to be on the sidelines for this because this is our biggest challenge yet, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. Can't wait to see you in our Instagram messages.
Happy Labor Day, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Fit, Healthy, and most of all Happy podcast. I am your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
And we're here to get you fired up, motivated, inspired, educated, as well as just add a little bit of happiness to your day. So thank you for tuning in today. Sit back, relax. If you got a coffee, enjoy that because you are in store for an incredible episode. And we like to kick these off with our primary question. So we have you, our listeners, send us questions, which is absolutely fantastic to hear kind of what the community is thinking on and what topics me and Kyle can discuss. And this first question is awesome, so I'm going to jump right into it. So when I go into a surplus, it only seems like my belly gets bigger and I don't actually achieve my goal of adding more muscle and really just seeing my composition change. I feel like I just add fat. How can I fix this?
So this is a great question, and to give you a little backstory, the other day, or yesterday actually, I filmed a YouTube video, How to Lose Fat Fast, and it felt like I just really felt the need to just talk constantly about having a game plan after losing fat, especially after an intense dieting phase, being in a deficit. And, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of doing things quickly because I find a lot of times afterwards it's very hard to get back on track. So just want to give you this little backstory because I feel like a lot of times people lose weight, but then afterwards it's like, what do I do? How do I approach it afterwards? Like, what the heck is going on here? And so essentially, the main thing I wanted to talk about and the biggest thing is like when it comes to entering a point where you're trying to gain muscle, you essentially have to start eating more than you're burning. So when you're losing weight, you have to eat in a deficit. When you're trying to gain muscle, gain a little bit of weight, you have to eat in a surplus. Now, this can often be actually one of the hardest phases that you're going to go through because let's say you've just been dieting for 12 weeks, 16 weeks, you're so dialed in, you're used to being in a great routine, eating less, you got your meals planned out. Like there's obviously challenges, but you're so used to it, you're dialed in. Whereas when you start to go into a muscle gain phase or a surplus, there can be a lot of different things going on, especially because you may not be as routine oriented because you just went from like dieting a ton to then being like, hey, I get all this extra food. So my main thing here is when trying to gain muscle is to really make sure that it's a systematized approach. And what I mean by this is you're still tracking your calories and you're in a slight calorie surplus. I don't mean a massive calorie surplus. And this is where so many people go wrong is they say, hey, okay, I'm used to dieting. I've been dieting for 12 weeks. I'm never going to use my FitnessPal again and I get to eat all the food in the world. Or they just kind of maybe get bored of it, or they just think that it's not necessary because their mindset switches to, I need to gain muscle and I need to gain it fast. And they just stop doing a lot of the things that they built up habits for in terms of the dieting phase. And I've been guilty of this, and this is where I would usually gain the most amount of fat afterwards is just saying, you know what, I'm going to become a lot more loose. I'm going to start to give into more temptations. I'm going to start saying yes to a lot of other things, whether it's like all these extra meals and snacks and all these different things going on. And then next thing you know, it's been a month and you've just put on, maybe a pound or so of muscle, but like you've put on 7 pounds of fat. So that's why my biggest tip here is to maintain that structure, still use my FitnessPal, have an approach where you're still taking your measurements, you're still weighing in every single day, you're still taking your photos. So you're doing everything that you would do in the dieting phase. You're just doing it a bit differently. You're in a slight surplus, maybe 300 to 500 calories per day. And I can promise you, you do this for a prolonged amount of time, you're going to stack on some incredible muscle while minimizing fat gain as well.
Yeah, that was a fantastic answer. And I think Kyle covered a lot of the bases here. And I think you really nailed it. And the general big point I have for people if they are indeed entering a bulk or a reverse diet is it's so tempting to let off the gas, be less specific. When we're cutting, it's easy because it's like if I overeat, I'm not going to hit my calorie goals and my weight will not go down. You have to be so dialed in. A bulk, you can be very loosey-goosey. You could undereat one day, eat a lot the next day, and be like, oh, weight didn't go up too much. And you can really develop some weird habits. And then you can also just say, I'm bulking, and you go to buffets and you go crazy for 2 days, and then all week you're eating under your calories, and it can really cause you to put on fat in a really weird way. But when you take that systemized approach that Kyle mentioned and you really lock into what you need to be doing, ensuring you are in a net surplus, really controlling your rate of gain, and once again deciding how aggressively you want to bulk. The more aggressively you bulk, the more muscle you can put on. So obviously a really lean bulk would be like a quarter pound a week, half pound a week, somewhere in that range, whereas you can get really aggressive if you go about 1 to 3 pounds. Anything over 3 pounds to me would be insane. 3 pounds in and of itself is also insane because it can stack up pretty quick. But once again, these are more extreme examples if you were like a really, really, really skinny person. Now, another thing to consider, nailing the right nutrients. Is very easy, like I said, to say, I'm bulking. I made that mistake in high school. I was like, I'm bulking, and I'd go and I'd get 5 McChickens at lunch, and that was just a horrible, stupid way to do it. I'm just eating a ton of trans fat. It was a high school version of me, not good quality foods. I'm not fueling my body with great sources that I can really use for energy in the gym. Once again, it will still put me in that surplus, but it isn't going to be something that's actually going to help me put on muscle as benefit, like to the best extent. Once again, it did work, right? So there's like a kind of, you can kind of force a square peg in a circular hole, I guess, if you ram it hard enough. But in general, doing it the smarter way is better. And that's where aiming to still have that 80-20 rule, maybe loosen it up to 70-30. Hit your protein. Carbs are very anabolic in a surplus. So making sure to give your body enough glycogen to put on muscle and grow is absolutely fantastic. So really aiming for great sources of foods and enjoying the odd thing, but not just using it as an excuse to say, I'm going to eat a pizza every single night. And then also alongside that, you'll notice you'll put on more visceral fat, you get more acne, you'll get different things, and it can be quite a challenge. But if you take that same attitude as you did a cut and you say, I'm in a surplus now, I'm eating, let's say 500 to 1500 calories over my maintenance, you should see a nice rate of gain. You can say, did I actually go up? Am I happy with this rate of gain? And then you can work off that and adjust from week to week to make sure things are going in the right direction.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how important it is to maintain those goals even that you'd usually have in a shred. Like for me, let's say I've got a 90-day shred taking place. I've got a goal to get to this point, and I take my photos every let's say month, and use the spreadsheet that we use for our clients, and like everything is so dialed in. So even when it comes to a bulk, when it comes to muscle gain, I really try to maintain that level of enthusiasm, although it isn't always as easy because it's slower. It's a slower process to build muscle. You don't see it as much and as quickly as you do when you shred fat. So it can be challenging, but if you set some strength related goals, even myself, I usually try to do about half a pound or so a week, which I know does seem very slow, but I'll usually give myself like a 6+ month time frame to do this. So I'm not exactly in a rush. Whereas if you were in maybe a bit more of a rush, you wanted to just like get yoked and jacked and, just timing wise, you just were trying to do a bit quicker, you probably will put on a bit more fat if you do enter a bigger surplus, which isn't exactly the end of the world based off of what you're trying to achieve, your time frame, how you feel, what motivates you. So there is always that to consider, because I know sometimes people do like getting things done a bit quicker. So that is kind of more or less like how to gain muscle without fat. And the one thing I will say is often you can do it as optimal as you can, but there are circumstances where if you are in a surplus, you will potentially put on a little bit of fat. Obviously, the goal is to minimize it. And even with our clients, we try to mainly stack on as much muscle as possible with the right calorie intake, the right foods, the right training. However, there are just for the most part, like you will gain little bits of fat within that process. And same with when you are dieting, you will unfortunately lose a little bit of muscle, but the goal is to always try to do it as efficiently and as optimal as possible to not, have any of these things take place, which, unfortunately it does happen. So just wanted to share that as well.
Awesome. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into our quotes of the week. What do you got, Kyle?
This week, I heard it. Josh shared, I think his name is Matt Vincent or something like that. It was a great YouTube video. It was just 30 minutes. And It was awesome. It was just like a speech from a seminar or something like that. And I really like, he had mentioned in it, he said, if you want to know the road ahead, ask those coming back. So I just thought that was such a good way to put looking to others for expertise, looking for, people who have been down a different, like a specific path, to just be like, hey, like what's ahead? Like, it's just so easy to not ask those questions. And what really I started thinking about was like the fitness journey. And you can apply it to anything, whether it's someone who's, had kids and you just want to ask them because like they've gone through that path, like anything. Like, there's so many amazing people to just like get ideas off of out there. There's so many experts, or, just people who have like kind of gone down that road. So it's so easy to always want to try to figure something out yourself and to try to navigate and look on maps and just like, try to see what's ahead in the road. Whereas like there's so many great opportunities just to ask questions, to be curious, to, look to others for advice. And that's where like so many people I do feel like struggle with the fitness journey, because they sometimes let their ego kind of get to them, or they're just like afraid to ask for help, or, there's just like, even us, Josh and myself, we've been doing this well over 10 years now. We've helped over 4,000 people. So like, for you guys to just shoot us a message and ask a specific question about, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Or of course, we would love to help you one-on-one with our online coaching program with guaranteed results. But the biggest thing is to set the ego aside, look at others and see how I can get some more support from those people who have gone down that path, because it's very easy to just go down all these different roads, to go the wrong way, to make the wrong left turn, and then you end up just not getting to your destination because you're afraid to ask those who have already gone down that path. So I thought that quote was awesome. Maybe it applies to you in some way or another, but I just wanted to share that with you today.
That is an awesome quote, and I'm really excited to share mine with you all today. So my quote is, the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. And this is just something I've thought of lately, and I think even coming off of a tough leg day. Really exciting news if you follow us on Instagram. We had a volleyball team at Colossusfit, myself, Kyle, our friend Andrew, and then our operations manager, Mary Kate, who is absolutely awesome. And it was really great to get that first place. I think there was like 43 teams, which is pretty awesome. So it was quite a battle, and obviously it was a very hard fought battle. I think we were playing like 2.5+ hours yesterday of like straight jumping, hustling, but it still came time to do legs today. And it's hard to want to do legs. And we've spoken before how success really comes from not just doing what we want to do or what we feel like doing, but doing what we need to do. And I knew if I just went in there and I skipped legs and I just did a little arm day, or I did legs with a lightweight and didn't do what I knew I could challenge myself to do, I would actually leave feeling a lot less fulfilled. I'd be like, oh, I'm not someone who can do hard things. I'd probably wouldn't be as in of a good spot. Whereas by going in there, facing it head on, obviously it was hard playing volleyball, but this isn't like a death situation. If you obviously had to do something crazy and you're like, I ran a marathon yesterday, there's nothing wrong with resting after that. But I'm like, I can absolutely do this. It's just going to be a little bit harder. Mentally, it's going to be more of a challenge. But because of that, and on these trying days, these tough decisions, when you win them, you feel so much better. The endorphins get pumped so much harder, and it feels really good overcoming something difficult. And it even made me think of just really anything. Like, even we like playing chess, and when we play chess, sometimes there'll just be people you'll just pump, and you'll be like, how the heck is this person rated so high? Like, it's this boring. It's not even a challenge. It feels like I could play chess with my 2-year-old. That's not going to be fun. Like, some level of competition, challenge, it's so important. And it's very much the same with your workouts. If you're just going in doing the same things, going through the motions, you're not going to feel much reward from that, and you're really going to lose the excitement towards the gym. And it seems like that's what you want to do because that's the easier route. But by going in, doing the hard exercise you don't want to do, forcing yourself to do some heavier weights, really embracing the challenge that is there in the gym, going when you don't feel like it, that's what actually makes it a lot more fun. And it really starts to reaffirm your identity. And this is a really awesome opportunity for you to feel more strength, to be better off. And I just really thought, and this goes full circle because I love the example. There's one individual who wrote a book on, he called it Take the Stairs. I didn't read the book, but I was listening to him on a podcast. And I think that mentality of take the stairs is such a great attitude, because he essentially was saying that by doing harder things, it makes life easier. And what I mean by that is it's a lot easier for me to go through the McDonald's drive-through and just get a quick, simple value meal. It's cheap, it's quick, it's caloric. I could do that every day, but I will suffer for that. Once again, ton of trans fat. I'm going to just have horrible foods. I'm going to feel lethargic. I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to have just acne everywhere. It's going to be a bad experience for me. Whereas for me, doing that hard thing, prepping a nice meal, buying veggies, washing the veggies, cutting them. Yes, there's a lot of work towards that, but ultimately that ends up being the better thing. And it's that same analogy in your mind if you really focus in on the concept of taking the stairs, like doing the harder thing that will actually make your life easier. And that's where it really is interesting. And once you start to reframe the attitude of like, I have to, and like, I'd rather be doing this easier thing, think I'm making my life easier by doing these hard things, by exercising, by working hard, by taking care of myself, by being intentional, by really overcoming like just moments of little bits of weakness, like all these different things. Like once you do these things, it really feels like goes a long way. So once again, don't feel like just doing what you feel like doing, do what you're supposed to do. And I assure you, it'll kind of reframe everything.
Yeah, it really makes such a big difference. And once again, make sure to follow us on Instagram because we do try to post, daily stories, minimum 5 posts a week and just like straight fire. And Josh had a great point because, you'd said a couple hours of volleyball and we shared this on the story. What was it like? No problem or something like that. It just with regards to like how many excuses we can make, right? You can come in and be like, oh, well, man, my legs are sore. Like he jumped like 300 plus times and it's like still got it done for 415 for like sets of 4, which was awesome. Crushed it. I forgot my knee sleeves, still got it done. Our buddy Jeremy was there, just had a kid recently. He's, obviously working through all that stuff, still made it work. And he hasn't even been really hitting legs as hard, but then coming in here is like, oh, I'll just hit 1 plate or 2 plates. He's like, no, I'm doing whatever Kyle's doing. And we had a great workout and it just feels so incredible because I find I've said this over and over again, but most people will take that first route out and then that's it. And then every single time something comes up. And then it's like you never end up doing the hard thing and you always end up feeling worse because you're capable of so much more, but you just don't end up doing it. So just wanted to share that with you. One other thought that I had mainly, it was from that same video Josh had shared with me. It was 3 questions to ask yourself at the end of the day. I thought it was awesome. I had to rewind. I had to write it down. And we like to give you different things to think about as well. So it's not just like, hey, here's how to lose fat, but like also here's how to become more energetic. Here's how to help build your confidence, like feel better day to day. Because this whole fitness journey and this whole journey alone, it's not just about having a 6-pack of abs, although that is awesome and a lot of people love it. It's also about your mental health. It's about how you feel day to day. It's about your energy levels. It's about how you interact with others. Like that's why we're called the Fit, Healthy, and Happy podcast. So I thought this was awesome, right? To think about here. 3 things. What brought me enthusiasm today? What stole my energy? What did I learn? So 3 incredible questions if you were to just check out at the end of the day, whatever time that is, to just think, write it down, whether it's you're sitting there in a quiet spot or you do take out your journal and you wrote it down. I feel like these 3 questions are awesome because they really get you thinking, like enthusiasm wise, like what actually made me excited? Like even here, as we're talking about leg day, like I hated every moment of it, but it brought me enthusiasm. Like it actually gave me energy. So when I sit down at the end of the day and I think about that, the next time I approach leg day, the next time I maybe want to skip it, like I remember that, right? And same with what stole my energy. Like it's so easy to go about your day and to not realize like how many things are taking your energy. And when you think about it, you can make changes going forward. Okay, I'm going to try to prevent going down this route where I always see this person who takes my energy or whatever the answer is that you might have for that. And then what did I learn? I love that because I feel like very often we never think about what we actually learned today. And it could be from this podcast. It could be from talking to a random person who knows a little bit more than you. It could be a work experience, whatever it is. I really like those 3 questions and I wanted to share that with you today.
Awesome questions to reflect on. Absolutely fantastic. And now we're going to jump into a client who has absolutely crushed it. So who do we got this week?
Yeah, so this week we actually have Gorge, who is, I think he's about 50 pounds down. Last time it was 45, but Coach Krista consistently shows his photos, and every month we will get our clients to send photos and we'll send updated ones. So I think it's awesome because like every time she shares the photos, it's just, oh, he's always improving. He's always getting better. And it's very rare for a lot of people to be like that. As I was saying before, a lot of times people really do struggle with like they lose weight, but then they put on a lot afterwards. It's because of unsustainable dieting. It's because of, just maybe not having the accountability after. You kind of just start to lose interest. You get bored. Like there's a whole number of reasons why that happens. But either way, it's incredible to see. And he has a couple different great tips. So every Monday we will share the transformation photos, what they have to say about the program, as well as some of their tips so you can also learn from them. Obviously, he had mentioned a lot about nutrition, such as meal prepping, pre-logging meals, which I think is absolutely incredible. A lot of people can learn from that as well. But the third tip he had said was get a coach. Every time I lost weight, I gained it back. Getting a coach actually teaches you everything you need to know to make it permanent. 100% one of the best things to do. So I thought that was awesome. Like we say, hey, just share some tips that will help others. And I thought these were great tips, especially because, like I had said, so many people struggle with that, and it doesn't have to be that way. There's not like my goal and our goal as a business and what we do is to get you to a point where you can learn a ton, be able to navigate and understand. You're able to go into grocery store and like just have so much knowledge. You will always be in a good spot. Whereas most people will follow a meal plan. Their coach says, hey, 12 weeks, chicken, broccoli, and rice. Here's what you're going to have 3 times a day. And then like maybe some different type of meal. And then from there, they never know what to do. They don't learn. They don't understand. And it's hard. Like I see so many people struggling with this. So anyways, awesome job. I'm so proud of you. And once again, the challenge is going to be a great opportunity. It's 60 days. You're going to learn a ton. You're going to have so much motivation, and you're going to also leave it just understanding how to navigate your entire life with your nutrition, your workouts, and our goal is to teach you as much as we physically can so you're just set up for success no matter what. So send us a message with the keyword challenge. I guarantee your results, and I can't wait to help you out.
Yeah, if you're on the fence about this is your time to do it. Obviously, Labor Day here, it's kind of time to get back into action. And if you've been thinking about getting help with coaching, this is your chance. If you love the advice you get generally over this podcast, it's way better when I can learn about your specific situation, the gym you have available to you, your training history, your injury history, your goals, look at your physique and say, okay, I know you want to focus on this and we can absolutely do that, but we really need to focus here because it's actually going to help you see more results. So really getting into the specifics of your journey is so essential. And as a special bonus, once again, because this is kind of the last chance, the challenge starts next week. If you DM challenge and sign up for this challenge and take that step to bettering yourself, we're going to do something special for you, and we're going to send you a custom special t-shirt we're doing. So we're actually going to do a special limited run of t-shirts for the challenge winners, and we'll do this for new challenge applicants as well. And they're going to actually have a quote with the Fit Healthy Happy podcast or the Colossus Fitness podcast logo. They're incredible t-shirts. We're partnering up with a local company that just makes incredible high quality t-shirts, and we're going to actually do a vote for which quote inspires everyone the most, so you can walk around with some quotes with some fire from this podcast. So they haven't even been made yet, but this is your chance to be first in line to get one of these exclusive shirts. All you got to do is message us keyword challenge, and the great news too is you're going to get access to a 60-day challenge with 2 different phases. At first, we're going to be working on breaking bad habits. The second phase is going to be the growth phase, and then we're also going to help coach you out of that. So once you achieve your goals, you lose a ton of fat, gain a ton of muscle, we can really start planning to that next adventure of your journey and get you the results you deserve to see. So don't miss out on this. DM us the keyword challenge to @Colossusfit, COLOSSUSFIT. Now into our second question. I'm wanting to be able to do at least 1 assisted pull-up by the end of this year. Any recommendations on reaching this goal besides doing pull-ups daily?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I find that pull-ups are the one thing that like a lot of people really want to do, and there's a lot of different ways to navigate it. I know sometimes people, like tell you to do pull-ups at the end of your workout always, or like do it every day. And to me, that's just not exactly going to be the most helpful. And I've seen a lot of different things happening, right? I see sometimes people will do like really poorly executed pull-ups and just think that if they keep doing it that way, that they're going to get better. And usually that's also not exactly the case. So for me, the way that I really like to approach a movement that we want to get better at and just like properly do is breaking down the movement. So even push-ups, for example, if you keep trying it, I don't usually think that that's going to work. If you break it down into different types of push-ups, such as eccentric, such as incline, like that's usually the best way to just consistently get better. Same with dumbbell bench press. So for pull-ups, there's so many amazing things. I would actually recommend 2 really basic things. It would be, I guess, 3 movements. So it would just be eccentrics. So basically, if you jump up towards the bar and you allow yourself 3 to 5 seconds on the way down, and then you put your foot on a bench and then jump up again and then repeat that process for 6 to 12 reps, that's an amazing exercise to be doing, because you're going to be spending a lot of time doing half of the movement, and then when you jump back up, you're just going to repeat that process. So I know it might be a little bit hard to visualize just from listening to me talk right now, so I will link down below one of our favorite YouTube videos to help you build your pull-ups. Now, doing any sort of assisted movements within pull-ups is always going to help as well, just because, once again, it's about training that exercise and just consistently doing it over and over again as best as you possibly can. So using the pull-up machine is incredible if you do have access to one. That's where you have the weight kind of like, you place it underneath your knees, and then it's that machine where you just, similar movement, you can pretty much add as much weight as you can. Sometimes you would start with 100 pounds, and then the goal is to work down towards getting it to 0. And that will take a little bit of time, but you're still doing the same movement. It's one of the greatest ways to do it. And then the other thing would just be putting a band underneath as well. So if you want to check out that YouTube video, it's a great visual to show you exactly how we would approach it. But the main thing is that when you start to incorporate a bunch of different ways to kind of do the movement without actually doing it, it breaks it down. It helps you become stronger in different areas. And if you also just do a bunch of different things, such as just strengthening your back, such as lat pull downs, they're absolutely fantastic. And then, different things like isometric holds and dead hangs, which you also see in the video. These will be incredible things to incorporate. But just the more that you practice, like the main thing I wanted to mention, the more you practice it in these different forms, different ways, you just get consistently better at it versus just saying, hey, I'm going to jump up at, the bar and just keep trying it. When you break it down like this, and this is something we do for a lot of our clients when they have goals like this, is we'll start to incorporate different things, such as if we do 2 upper body days, one of them we'll do some isometric holds for a little bit. Maybe we'll do a couple of dead hangs to strengthen the hands, the grip, like all that other stuff, even the back as well. Another day we might do some assisted pull-ups as well as some eccentrics, and we kind of break it down in that sense to help them get stronger, and then eventually they're able to do their first of many pull-ups.
Very well said. It's hard to add on to that. I know Kyle has made some great content around this and helped dozens, if not hundreds of people get their first pull-up. It is absolutely a fantastic milestone, and I do truly believe you should be able to push yourself off the floor, squat down, stand up, and be able to jump, as well as be able to do pull-up. Like, there's some crazy stats out there that like a certain percentage of Americans never jump again after a certain age. I'd have to find the exact time, but it's pretty absurd to think like, wow, like there could be a time where you stop jumping or doing this. And the more you can naturally move yourself, just the better you are for situations. It's very rare there's a life or death situation where you got to pull yourself up, but it is nice to be really strong and have great mobility and ability within your body. And I think this is a fantastic goal to work towards, and keeping after it, using the tips available, working through the exercise in the video and doing the progressions is super important. So Kyle knocked it out of the park. Definitely take notes on that one, because that is how you get it done. Then last but not least, our final question for the day is, after so many years in the fitness industry, what are some of the things that you still get excited about? So I'll jump into it first. I'd say for me, I just love that there's weeks where maybe you're not loving it, you're not as fired up. And then there's weeks you just get really excited about something. Even our buddy today at the gym, he said, oh, I don't have really a goal. And I said, hey, you want to come do the DEXA with us next time? And he's like, that'd be awesome, because that really gives me something to train towards. And I think having these artificial or actual goals and like little time frames of, in this many months I have a vacation or a DEXA scan or a competition with a friend or a powerlifting meet, whatever it is, having these little goals, there's a really easy way to kind of cheat in the excitement towards something, or you're going to a beach with people and you just want to look really good for it. It is really nice to have these little random milestones to get you quite excited and get you fired up. So I do find for me that these things always come around. They get me pretty pumped up, or I'll see like a motivational video that'll just kind of get me locked in and hungry, or even just different things like being fit and having the ability to be successful in different situations, such as like even for volleyball, obviously like us training hard, training legs, really being agile, like that obviously benefited us quite a lot. So I do find those things for me really go a long way. Even with having 2 young kids, like obviously you need to have a lot of energy with kids. I don't know how people do it. It's constant motivation, because they're just going to be getting better and stronger and healthier and more towards their peak as I'm going to go away from it. So I got to really hold my own here. And I think that alone motivates me to be a really healthy version of myself. So those are my 2 answers.
I thought that was so well said. And yesterday, as we were in our championship game, the nets were super high, and I'm not the tallest person, and I was trying to spike as much as I could, but it was just like really hard for me to get up there. So I just kept thinking about, man, like this is good motivation, like for next season, for next time around, to just like improve my vertical, and I really just try to find things to get me motivated, to get me pumped up, and to have these goals. And similar to what Josh was saying about the DEXA scan, it's like, it's so important to keep looking for these things, because it's so easy to just kind of go a little bit backwards. And especially for us, obviously it's a bit easier having this as our, it's in our industry, it's what we do, right? So we kind of have to look for these things, and we're always motivating clients, and we're always getting ideas from clients, and we're always, doing all this great stuff with content and whatnot. But for those of you who are struggling, like, I really encourage you to find that thing, right? And even this question number 2 about the pull-ups, like that's such an incredible question, because for someone, like, let's say you're a female, you're, trying to get stronger, like setting this as like a motivator and a goal is like so incredible, because that means even if you lose a little bit of body fat and you lose weight, like 20 pounds, like that will help you with your pull-up so much. Like it's good motivation to train back hard. It's good. It's just like having these things and looking for it is so important and so underrated. So I did want to just mention that before I jump into some other things. But yeah, so for me, it's obviously finding those different things. Things have changed over the years, right? I used to want to be the biggest person ever, and like, just do some crazy things and, milestones. Now I'm just like, I really want to embrace like being fit and healthy, and of course happy, but like it's going to look different for each person. But when I look at it, like just having more cardio is fantastic. I don't need to be able to run marathons. Like that's not my goal anymore. But even yesterday doing like 2.5 hours of volleyball plus, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I want to be able to keep going no matter what. And then obviously with the kid on the way, like what Josh was saying, like that's incredible motivation to just keep having endless energy and, be able to keep up and just like build up my capacity and even strength. Like there's a lot of things that I'm starting to think about, as well as, holding his son the other day. I was just like, man, like I got to get strong. I got to keep getting stronger so I can, keep up and hold them and all this other stuff. So things are changing as I guess priorities are, but a lot of things are also staying the same, right? So I really get motivated by different things such as challenges. So that's why when we're sitting down, like what do we need, but what does everybody else need? And so when we came up with this challenge, it's like, how can we just get some fire going? How can we get some incredible results? So challenges always motivate me. And I know that a lot of you absolutely thrive during it. So our current clients are already going to get to take place. And then anyone else who's looking to take it to the next level, it's just going to help you in so many different ways. And then the other thing as well, like I'm really just obviously focused on client results and building the best possible company to get us like just the most amazing transformations and just like really help out as many people as we physically can. So even though it's been 12 plus years, like that's something every single day we're looking to improve and to really just like get as many people just feeling their absolute best, like not struggle. So of course I'm very focused on my own journey, but our biggest thing over the years has been like not just being someone who is focused on competing in a bodybuilding show and like, just caring about our physiques, but like how can we help other people out? And there's so many influencers in the industry, like they only care about themselves. It's like, they have their peak week and like they're just posting them. But for us, it's been like, how can we help as many people? Because we have so much knowledge, we have the ability, like how can we transfer this over to help you feel your absolute best, to just feel the way that we do? Because everyone deserves to have a fit, healthy, happy, full of energy, full of confidence, body and mindset. So anyways, that's something we're focused on. But we're the biggest thing is just always looking for that next thing, sitting down. What's the next thing that's going to motivate me? That DEXA scan that we have coming up in a couple months, I'm like, every leg day, like I do not want to go back and be like, you gained 0 pounds of muscle. Like I already lost a bit. So I'm like, this is going to motivate me. So that's my answer for this question. And hopefully that makes sense.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't miss out on this challenge. You owe it to yourself. Don't be kicking yourself 60 days from now saying, I wish I started. Things aren't going where they are, and I'll wait till the new year, because we know there is no tomorrow. You got to take action today. You deserve this for yourself. So DM us challenge to our Instagram. We will see you over there, and we can't wait to shred alongside you for the 60-day. This is our biggest challenge yet. Get back into fitness challenge. Thousands of prizes. So we'll see you in the DMs.